Hello, uh, today I want to show you how to use N25 column. Here we've got some wash, it's about 10%. It's about 10% and we're going to distill it. Also, what we've got here, we've got still, we've got boiler over here, N25 boiler, we've got column. And cartridge is removed, column is empty. So the thing is my cat. Come on. The thing is, I've got this column from one of my customers, very good person, and it seems like he's having a problem to distill anything with that, and he claims that something wrong with the column. I asked him to send it over, so I would check it, open it up, replace it if needed. So I decided to run a sort of tasting distillation to see what this column is capable of, because this column wasn't tested. Like, I didn't try to distill on this column. I haven't done anything, nothing at all. So I just wanna try to distill with this column and see. And at the same time, I would try to explain him how to use it. So first of all, it's a primary distillation with some wash we've got here. It's a 2 10-liter drums, total 20 liter, about 10%, and we're gonna load it into this boiler. This is the first step. You've got the boiler and you load the mesh first. Now we've got our mesh in the boiler, and this is time to install the column. And I would like to repeat, the column is empty. Here's a cartridge for the column, and here's a column. So just take it, install it like that. So please note that water inlet is at the lower part of the column, and water outlet is at the very top of the column. So the water comes from the bottom, from the lower part, goes up and go out. So now we can switch our boiler on and connect water, cooling water, and wait for the spirit to come out. So after the water, usually I recommend to connect water first. Don't need a big stream. Just slightly. Something like that would be enough, probably even less. Absolutely enough. And don't forget something like that or like that. Here. Plus electricity, and Now we have to wait. This is the first stage. It's a primary distillation. It's our wash inside. Now we're just waiting approximately 40 minutes and gonna see what's gonna happen. Also just would like to remind you that for primary distillation the reflux control valve, this one, should remain completely open, so there is no restriction for the spirits. It goes right through. So now we've got our spirits coming out. So it's a primary distillation, and we just don't worry about heads and tails. We collect everything that we can. So we carry on our distillation, still primary one. We've got a little bit in the measuring glass and check it with hydrometer. So it's approximately 70%, maybe 69. It's quite typical because we just started to get spirits, so it will decline during the distillation. Just want to show you the water stream. Here's a cooling water. And fast, approximately 36 degrees Celsius, not really hot. So now we're finishing our primary distillation. We collected about 6 liters of crude ethanol or alcohol, and our next step is fractional distillation, where we're going to separate all the heads and tails. We're going to use the same column and use the cartridge. You can see it over here. Now we've finished our distillation and we're draining everything and preparing the still, the boiler for the secondary distillation. So we've got about 6 liters of crude ethanol. We're gonna load it into the boiler once we drain it. Now we drained everything, shut the valve down. We've got our insert and push it into the column. We used an empty column. Now we've got the cartridge in. Clamp. Now we need to check the percentage of our spirit before we start our secondary distillation. Сава, блядь. So before we start our secondary distillation, we need to check the percentage of the spirit we've got to make a proper calculation. So we've got approximately 50%, I would say 47, but because it's cold, it shows less, so it's a 50%, 6 liters at 50%, so we need to know this figure to carry on our further distillation. Now we need to load the spirit into the boiler, and also we probably need to load some water, so to make sure that our elements are covered with some liquid after we finish our distillation. So we've got 6 liters at 50%, so it's approximately 3 liters of alcohol is going to be evaporated from the barrel, from the boiler, so we're going to be left with 3 liters of liquid. And to make sure that everything will be okay, I would add another couple of liters to the boiler on top of the actual spirit that I'm gonna put in. So again, we've got 6 liters of stuff and we need to load it to the boiler. It's a 50% alcohol. I also will add a couple of liters of water. Maybe 3 liters, doesn't matter in this case. Now the still is loaded, so we can place our column back. Now the column is inserted. It's not an empty in this case. So we're ready for distillation. Switch the power first. And just wait for the spirit. So now, while we're waiting, we've got our spirits in, some water in, so we've got 6 liters of 50% in our boiler. We added about 3 liters of water, extra water. We've got our electricity on and water as well. So now we're gonna do calculation of fractions that we're gonna get from this spirit. So it's a crude ethanol, it contains all the fractions, tails and heads, everything. So now, again, we've got 6 liters at 50%. 6 liters at 50% equals to 3 liters at 100%. 100%. So we're aiming or dealing with 3 liters of potential alcohol in this boiler. So all our calculations gonna be based on these 3 liters. So next thing is a first fraction, the heads. Heads are equal to 10% out of these 3 liters of this figure. It could be 3 liters, it could be 10 liters, it all depends on a different volume, different quantity you're distilling. In this case it's a 3 liter, so it's our figure. So 10% out of 3 liters is easy, it's just 300 milliliters. So first fraction equal to 300 milliliters. So it's a first fraction. Second fraction usually 5% out of here. So it's going to be 150 milliliters. Second. People asking what kind of second fraction. So once you remove the first fraction, that it's nitrates, there's some residues of nitrates still left in the column. So the second fraction, actually flushing fraction, you collect it separately and you can reuse it again next time. So it's a 5% equals to 5% or 150 milliliters in this case. 150 milliliters. Now we have to find out the tails. So to find out the tails, we have to tails equal actually to 3.5% out of 3 liters. So 3 multiplied by 3.5 equals, so it's 105 milliliters. So tails, it's a fourth fraction. Fourth fraction equal to 105. So why we found the fourth fraction before we found third fraction? So to find the third fraction, actual food grade alcohol, we have to find all the impurities, amounts of all the impurities. So now we have to add them to each other. So 105 of the fourth fraction plus 150 of the second fraction and plus 300 milliliters of the first fraction, and we've got 555 milliliters of all impurities. So total impurities to equal to 555 milliliters. Sorry for my writing, my typing is much better. Now we know the total of impurities and we know the total of the spirits. So it's a 3 liter. Now 500. We have to remove this 555. Take from 3 liters. So 3 liters is 3000 milliliters. Minus equal. So we've got 2 liters 445 milliliters. So it's our alcohol equals to 2 liters 445. What I want to point you, just there's a note that it's almost impossible to get this particular figure, because readings of the hydrometer that actually designed for the ethanol are affected by the presence of all those lighter fractions like heads and also tails. So readings are not correct. Plus your column needs to be primed inside. Plus something gonna be left in the boiler, so it's normal to lose something. So actual amount would be about 10-20% less than the one you're aiming at. In our case, I would say we're gonna get about 2.2 liters of 94% alcohol. 2.2. This is realistic figure. Distillation will be carried at approximately 12 milliliters per minute. Oh, sorry, per 30 seconds. So it's a 24 milliliters per minute, or 1.5 liters per hour. So now we just have to wait for the spirit to come out. So remove the first fraction first, then second, and then we're gonna get our alcohol. And we're not gonna get fourth fraction, we're just gonna stop our distillation once we finish with this one. So now we know all the amounts, everything is predetermined, pre-calculated, and we don't have to guess, we don't have to think, we don't have to rely on our whatever thermometer, because thermometers are big liars. They will show you different temperature with the same process only because there's a rain outside or elevation over the sea level or something like that. So simply you cannot rely on thermometers because of that, because they really affected by the different fluctuations of the atmospheric pressure changes and elevation over the sea level. So the temperature of boiling will be different all the time. In this case, we've got everything pre-calculated, and regardless of the height or something, we're gonna get everything correctly done. So this is like that. Now we've got our spirits coming out. This is still first fraction, it's a heads. I already adjusted the flow, and it's 24 milliliters per minute, or 12 milliliters per 30 seconds. The alcohol flow adjustment is done by the reflux valve here. So you shut the valve, you can shut it completely, open it up a little bit slowly, or completely for the primary distillation, or you can control the quality and percentage you like. If you're making brandy, for example, you can remove heads at normal rate and then open the valve up and let everything come out with all the flavor, everything, no problems. Here's our flow. Here's a measuring glass. Speed is 24 milliliters per minute. So here's our percentage. I would say about 94, because it's stuck to the side, but it's over 90. It's it's not 50 like my friend claimed with this column, because this column I haven't done anything to it, just testing, checking. So it's about 94%, as has been predicted. At correct rate, everything is fine. So it's still the first head fraction. So we've got our 300 milliliters that equals to our first fraction that we calculated before. So now it's time to discard it and start to collect the second fraction. So we're about to get a good spirit very soon. So once you discarded it, I would recommend to make a label or something so you wouldn't dismiss it with a normal spirit or something. You can use it for ethanol stuff or for some solvent purposes. It's very good cleaner, it will remove the permanent markers or something, so it's up to you. I use it as a fuel. Now we're collecting our second fraction. (150 milliliters). Now we collected our second fraction. You can see it's almost 200 milliliters, supposed to be 150. I just missed it a bit. Now we're gonna get rid of this fraction, collect it separately somewhere, and then add it into your next distillation. So, and we'll start to collect a good spirit. As you remember, we're aiming at approximately 2.2 liters of alcohol, good alcohol. So here's our percentage. It's about 94%. Please note, all the measurements of the ethanol or alcohol is done with at 20 degrees Celsius. So your liquid's supposed to be about 20 degrees Celsius. Then you've got right, correct readings. So we've got over 2 liters of alcohol or food grade ethanol. So 1 liter is in here in a big container, and another one over here, a little bit more. So I decided to stop at this point, and technically this is it. This is finish of distillation. The column is working okay. My friend can use it without any problems. There is no bugs, no problems with the column. It's been checked, so everything is fine. Thank you very much.